Hi, I'm Ibu Rose, Family and Love Guru. I'm so excited to be with you this evening and to talk about the topic that's so close to my heart, that is about parenting. And under that, we'll be zeroing into loving and firm parenting. So are you ready to rock and roll with me to talk about this beautiful topic? Thank you so much for inviting me to be with you. So first thing, before I start, at the end of this sharing with you, I'm going to give you a gift. So make sure that you stay until the end. Talking about parenting. Now, the way we parent our children actually affects their life, their whole life. It is so important because you know what? Children learn the model of the world, whether this world is a kind world, whether this world is a bad world, whether this world is a place that's full of love or full of hate, from their parents. So our parenting style affect them very much. So I will zero in into the 4 types of parenting that is commonly used in the whole world. Okay, and this is not my own research. It has been researched by so many, experts in psychology, expert in human development, expert in parenting. And I take all that and put it together to share with you today. So the 4 types of parenting. The first one, it is not in order, but just to share with you, the first one is what we call the dominant parenting. And dominant parenting, also known as the authoritarian parenting, that it is my way or the highway. So children just have to listen. They cannot speak. They cannot contest the what you call the demand from the parents. They have to just be quiet. So actually, I've written a book on, it is called Raising Happy Kids, published in 2005. It is no more in the market. I'm sorry. That's why I'm telling you, I'm going to give the excerpt of this topic on parenting style at the end of the program. So please stay with me. Okay, parenting style, there are 4. Dominant parenting usually set high standards and are hard to please. They have high expectation, but do not give enough support and are always too busy to talk with their children. They do not have time. They are unbending and demand that their children stay away from certain activities. But because of poor communication, their children quietly disobey them and do precisely what is forbidden. Children raised by such parents are often in fear. They are fearful because of the demands made on them. Such parents demand that their children perform extraordinarily well in whatever they put their children into. For example, in sport, they want their children to be extremely extraordinary, achieve high standard, and so on and so on and so on. So if you have seen people like this, you understand that actually this is not a very good way or good parenting style, because their children either grow up to be low achievers or become win-lose players, or they will become bullies too, because they've been suppressed, they've been expected too high and do not receive support. So the EQ development and the SQ development do not develop properly. So children in this are always fearful. And if we understand the Maslow hierarchy of needs, the second need is security. Children under the parenting style of dominant parenting or authoritarian parenting always in the state of fear. And fear, when they are in the state of fear, three response might happen. Is either they fight, they flight, or they freeze. So take a deep breath. Okay, the second one is neglectful parenting. This type of parents, they love their children, but they do not want to take or they don't want to take any responsibility. So they will delegate parenting to other people, and they will go and do their stuff and get involved and get so immense in their career, not really wanting to take any responsibility. They do love their children. Children coming from shared parenting have low respect towards responsibilities because parents don't show them responsibilities. It is not surprise because the example of shared behavior is paramount in their parents. So parents always do not have time for them. Parents, they are just seen and not heard, and maybe not seen as well. Unless they receive good discipline from the babysitters, such parents, such children will grow up with no respect towards rules and regulation. They also lack discipline. They become selfish or go to the extreme of buying friendship. Oh, yo, this like hurting so much in my heart. This is because their self-worth is severed due to so much neglecting from person that they look up to. It's just like they're hoping the love from the parents, but they're not able to get that love. So children will be wondering why they are being neglectful. The third one is what we call the permissive parenting. Permissive parenting, everything goes. There is no boundaries, there is no limit. Children can just do whatever they want, and to easily describe that the children become the master and the parents become the slaves. Okay, everything the children want, the parents will give. So there is no proper guidance from the parents. So over permissiveness encourages undesirable act by the children and shares as bullying others as well, beating up others. And maybe this is in Malay, dalam masyarakat Melayu, kita selalu tengok this movie by Tan Sri P. Ramlee, Anakku Sazali. Anakku Sazali is an example of permissive parenting, because permissive parenting do not give children the boundaries, what are the set of rules that they need to abide to, and the children are how we say it, and because of that, the children also feel insecure, and when they are insecure, they will also cause other people, like they will bully, and they have general destructive behavior. Now, the last one. And the last that I explained about the 4 types of parenting, okay? There's no order. The last one is what we call the loving and firm parenting. It's not loving but firm. It is loving and firm. It need to come together, and that's why in that it's about the parents are being very warm. They also guide their children. They have rules, they have regulation, they have discipline, they have routine that make the children feel safe. And that's why the key words there is feeling safe, because without rules and regulation, actually children don't feel safe. So this type of parenting actually help the children to feel very supported, and the children will be able to generally rank high in their self-esteem and self-respect because parents respect them. Parents will not spank them without for no reason. Parents will not be harsh with them. They just talk to the children with full of compassion, with understanding, and this makes the children respect the parents and respect themselves, because the energy from the parents is about love. I respect you. I love you. You are very important to me. So when they would like to reprimand their children, they also do it from the place of love. They correct their children from the place of, you are very important to me, you are wonderful, that behavior is not right, you cannot have that behavior, you cannot do that behavior, but you are a wonderful person. Can you see? They are not angry with that person. They are just reprimanding the behavior. So if the child do not continue with the bad behavior, the child is loved and supported. If they continue with the bad behavior, the parents understand that they need to be firm and the children need to be reprimanded. So that is very different from permissive parenting. It's very different from neglectful parenting. It's very different from dominant parenting, because dominant parenting, everything that the parents say, the children have to obey. But loving and firm parenting, the children can ask questions. The children can demand answer. They will ask, why is it like that? Why can't I play outside? And the parent will take time to explain. So these are two very big difference in the way we parent our children. And I would just like to sum up saying that in loving and firm parenting, they have clearly defined and communicated rules in the home, which the children know they cannot violate without adverse consequences. Very important. So then the second one is they exude genuine and ambiguous love for every child, expressed in a warm and supportive ways. There is no comparison. You must be like your brother, you must be like your sister. This is not practiced in a loving and firm parenting. And one thing that I also like to share here, many parents will be asking me, when is the right time for me to set rules with the children? When is the right time for me to introduce discipline to the children? So I just like to share it with you here that discipline comes from routine. So when do you start building routine for your children? When the children is first born, you already have routine. When they should sleep, and when they should wake up, when is the time for meal, and you follow that routine. When you train your children to have routine, to discipline them is just the next step. For example, the routine for a 3-year-old is to wake up maybe at 7 o'clock in the morning. And after wake up, you bring them to take a bath. Or maybe you bring them to have breakfast first. So every day you do the same routine. It gets into the child that is the way that the child want to follow. Maybe you might change the routine when going back to grandma's house or grandfather's house, but the normal routine will stay. For example, they will sleep. You bring them to sleep by about 9 p.m. and you will not just allow them to play around and not sleep until 1 a.m. You make sure that they sleep at 9 p.m. So imagine from start, you already have this routine at home. So when they start to reach about 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, it's easy for you to ask them to sleep at 9 p.m. So this is what I said, by discipline is built from routine. Another thing that I would also like to tell and share here, how you can be loving and firm, is to understand that a child will go through stages in their life or phase in their life. But before I go there, I just like to also share with you about how can we be loving and firm? How do we know our action is loving and firm? So to explain on that, I would just like to share from the perspective of the 4 dimensions of self. And we are not just our physical body. We have another 3 parts of our body, or 3 dimensions of body. And this is coming from the explanation given by Stephen Covey, or the late Stephen Covey. Yeah. So when we are saying that we are being loving to our children, we want to fulfill the needs of all these 4 dimensions of selves. Because when we fulfill the needs of these 4 dimensions of self, their growth will be simultaneous. So it will not be lopsided. The physical will go first and the EQ is not developed. Can you see or not? So it will be balanced. So the first one is the needs of the physical self. There are 4 dimensions to the self: the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual. So the first one is the physical. What is the needs of our physical self? What is the physical self? The one that you can touch, and the one that if you were to cut open your body, for example, your heart, this is also your physical self. And the physical self has needs, and the needs is to live. What you need to live? You need to eat, you need to rest, you need to drink, you need to exercise. So children need that. So how can you be loving and firm to their physical needs? Make sure they have enough sleep. Make sure they have enough rest. Make sure they have good food and reasonably good food, and make sure they have enough activities to make their development, their physical development will grow, and they are healthy physically. Now, this is quite easy because many parents will see, because whatever that physically, you can actually see the development very easily because it is so easy, amat mudah, senang nampak, it's easy to see. Now, the second part is the mental development, atau the needs of the mind. The needs of the mind is to learn. Children want to learn, and children, in fact, don't care about eating as long as they can learn. The only thing is that the way children learn is through playing. Yeah, children play. When they play, they are actually learning. They are actually thinking. And children love to ask questions. How many of you here, your children can't stop asking you questions? And sometimes you say, please stop, I don't know the answer. Or sometimes you will hide inside a cupboard or inside your wardrobe, don't want your children to ask questions anymore because they keep on asking the question. And you want to sit there, watch your movie, and they're asking, why is it, why is it, why is it, right? Actually, you have a child that is very inquisitive, with the mind of a scientist. So congratulations to you, actually. If you have a child who is like that, say to yourself, wah, lega lah, I have a scientist. Okay. So the mind also need to imagine. And this is the artist part of the mind. So if you have a child that loves to daydreaming, this is a child who is like Walt Disney. He is seeing movie in his mind. So as long as the child is learning and thinking, and you are able to ask, to give them, if they ask question, you entertain their question, the development of the mind will be fast. And the child will develop, and they're excited. They love learning because to them, learning is a survival skill. If you don't learn, they will not survive. Right? So for those of you who have children who love so much to play, and after playing, you can see their face is so satisfied. But it is not video game, okay? Not video game is not included, okay? Because that you have to minimize. It's just like playing, for example, just playing with, let me see, maybe playing with a bottle, but to them it is not bottle. To them it is something so magical. Maybe to them this is a special rocket that will bring them to outer space. This is what we say imagination. So, and this is the age between 3, 4, 5 years old. They develop what we call the make-believe, make-believe thinking. So they pretend and they see things, but they don't see it the way we see it. Interesting, right? And when you are able to fulfill the needs of the mind, to get them to be so inspired to read books before they go to sleep, you are putting all this love inside them. And you are giving them boundaries, giving them principles in life, values in life, through that sharing of moment of high quality, inspiring, that inspire thinking in them. Now, the third one is the need of the heart. And the needs of the heart is love. And love has 5 languages, like from Dr. Gary Chapman, there are 5 love languages. The gift, act of service, word of affirmation, physical touch, and another one will be act of service. I say act of service, give, word of quality time. Yes, quality time. So when you are with your children, you look at their eyes. Even though you only have 5 minutes, they ask you a question, you bend down and you look at their eyes and say, okay, what's the question? And you answer the question. And sometimes you don't even have the answer. And you say to the child, okay, I don't have the answer now. Can we look for the answer? And oh, I have already told you yesterday, you still remember? But the thing is that lovingly answer the question and lovingly sharing that beautiful quality moment with your children. Okay? And the fourth one is the needs of the spirit. The spirit just want to do good. So encourage the children to do good and acknowledge them and congratulate them when they do something good. So this is how we can able to bring loving and firm parenting, practice loving and firm parenting. And to be able to do that easily and smoothly in our parenting is to improve our competency. And competency can be divided into three aspects: our attitude, our skills, and our knowledge. So in terms of attitude, have the right attitude about parenting. Parenting is not about making your child and just about your child or your children. Parenting is about us, getting ourselves to be better every day and helping our children to be the better version of themselves, the best version of themselves, by us being the best version of ourselves and become the best parents that we can be. Every day we improve. And we encourage our children and celebrate with them when they are able to do good, when they kiss their little baby sister, when they help things at home, when they say something good. Just encourage them, and this is the needs, and encourage them to be able to express themselves to do good. And when we are able to do all this that's how we are able to bring our children the loving and firm parenting, fulfilling the needs of the self. And what we need to improve and what we need to know here is that we will continue become better and better when we have improved in our competency in order to be able to deliver that. And competency can be divided into three. That first is our attitude. What is our attitude about parenting? Parenting is not about our children. Parenting is about us. It's how we improve ourselves, how we become better and better every day, become the better version of ourselves, and help our children to be the best version of themselves. That is the attitude. It is not about why my children is not like this, why my children is not like that, but to look at yourself. How can I improve so that my children will improve? That is the attitude. And then skills. What are the kind of skills that you need to develop? If you have a child at maybe under 3, you start to learn about what is the need of the children, your child, when she is 3 years old, 4 years old, 5 years old. So you are always advanced at least few years ahead. Okay? It's not that when you have a 3-year-old, you read about 3-year-old. When you have 4-year-old, you read, but that is already too late. So when you have 0 to 3, you already studied that when you were carrying the baby. But when the baby is still at 2 years old, you're already reading about 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. And when your child is 5 years old, you're already reading about preteens. That is how you improve the skill. And they're saying that the skills that you really need to master, the skill of communication and building relationship. Because communication for a 3-year-old and communication with the 13-year-old is not the same. And building relationship is something that communication and relationship they come together. Good communication, good relationship. Good relationship, good communication. And the last part is the knowledge. And what is it that you need to know about the knowledge on parenting? Very important one, at least one that you need to master fully, is the development of the child. Because a child at 3 years old cannot think, the thinking faculty is not as matured as a 13-year-old. And you need to understand the phase that they go through. For example, below 3, there is a stage called individuating. And at this stage, you realize that a child demands so many things. They want to wear that clothes. They want to wear that sock. They want to eat on their own. And when you allow them to eat on their own, they want you to feed them. They want things and they are so demanding. At that point, many parents thought and went bonkers because they thought that the child has, in Malay we call it, dah jadi degil and like to throw tantrum. Yeah. And actually, it is not that. It's just that a child is learning how to use the power that they have. It is called, in neurosemantic, it is called the matrix of self. They try to understand how much can I do? So they try to hold something, but they can, for example, they are trying to hold this and it is so heavy and they lift it up because they cannot balance between their ability, the physical ability, and their needs and their wants. And they have a lot of frustration. That's why they throw tantrum a lot. And I will be able to talk deep about this, but we have very short time. So look into individuating and come to my page, Ibu Rose Message Kasih, or facebook.com/Ibu Rose Love. I always share about parenting. And as I already told you at the end of this session, so that you will understand a little bit more. Maybe some of you have a lot of questions. What is all these 4 types of parenting? I'm not sure. Where shall I go? What can I do? So I'm going to give you an e-notes about parenting styles. But you need to tell me that you need it. So you need to contact me, and I'm going to give you the contact number and also the email address. The email address is simple, iburoseservice@gmail.com. Or you can contact my personal assistant, Anwar, at 017-680-2364. Just send WhatsApp or just send an email. Just say, Ibu Rose, may I have the parenting style, the notes, the e-notes, and I will be sending that to you. I will be giving you link, but give me a little bit of time because sometimes we're swamped with so many emails and we need to actually write the topic, parenting style e-notes. Then we'll know that and we'll give priority to you. So thank you so much. I hope that you have benefit something from my sharing and hope that we can meet again. Meanwhile, can always come to my page and I welcome you. Thank you so much for inviting me for this lovely session. Thank you.